Existential Theory of Personality. Understanding your true self. Have you ever sat alone and suddenly felt a quiet question rise from deep inside you? A question that feels older than your memories, older than your fears, older than the life you're living right now. A question that whispers, "Who am I, truly?" Not who people think you are, not who your environment shaped you to be, not the role you've been performing for years, but you, the real you, beneath the noise, beneath the pressure, beneath the expectations. That moment, that inner awakening, is where the existential theory of personality begins. It begins the moment you realize you are more than your habits, more than your past, more than the story society told you to live. It begins when the soul finally asks for truth. Existential psychology doesn't try to place you into a category or type. It doesn't see your personality as something fixed like a stone. Instead, it sees your personality as something alive, growing, unfolding with every choice you make. It says that at the core of your identity is not your past, not your trauma, not your upbringing, not your culture, but your freedom. And freedom, though beautiful, is often frightening, because the moment you realize you are free to shape your life, you also realize you cannot hide behind excuses. You cannot say, "I had no choice," because every action, even inaction, is a choice. You cannot blame destiny, or fate, or society for every part of who you've become. You must face the one thing most people run from: responsibility. Existential thinkers believe responsibility is not a burden but a gift, the gift of authorship, the gift of becoming the writer of your own life, the gift of deciding the direction of your soul. Responsibility means you have the power to create meaning, to create identity, to create purpose, to create a future that reflects who you truly are. But human beings often fear their own freedom, because freedom means uncertainty. Freedom means risk. Freedom means stepping away from the life you've outgrown. Freedom means walking into the unknown with nothing but courage in your hands. So instead of choosing boldly, many people choose safety. They hide behind routines, even when those routines no longer make them happy. They follow society's expectations, even when those expectations suffocate their spirit. They silence their dreams because their dreams demand courage. And eventually, the personality becomes a mask, a performance, instead of an expression of the soul. Existential psychology calls us back to authenticity, back to living truthfully, back to honoring our inner voice, back to recognizing that our personality grows from the inside outward, not the outside inward. Authenticity is not about being perfect. It is about being real. It is about admitting what you feel, admitting what you want, admitting what you fear, admitting what you can no longer pretend to be. Most people are afraid to be authentic because authenticity demands vulnerability. It demands honesty. It demands looking into the mirror and facing the parts of yourself you have avoided, your insecurities, your regrets, your unspoken dreams, your quiet desires, your hidden fears. But once you face them, you become stronger. You begin to live a life that reflects who you truly are rather than who the world trained you to be. Existential personality theory also says something powerful. We do not live well without meaning. Meaning is the heartbeat of the human spirit. Meaning is what makes suffering bearable. Meaning is what gives direction to your days. Meaning is what fills your personality with depth. Meaning is not something life gives to you. Meaning is something you create. You create meaning by the way you treat others, by the way you love, by the way you serve, by the way you endure pain, by the way you rise after falling, by the way you turn your experiences into wisdom. You create meaning every time you choose what matters over what is easy. You create meaning every time you choose courage over fear. You create meaning every time you say, "This is who I am, and this is the life I want to live." Your personality is shaped by what you give meaning to. If you give meaning to fear, your personality becomes small. If you give meaning to pleasing people, your personality becomes fragile. If you give meaning to comfort, your personality becomes stagnant. But if you give meaning to growth, your personality becomes powerful. If you give meaning to purpose, your personality becomes grounded. If you give meaning to truth, your personality becomes whole. Existential psychology teaches that anxiety is not always a problem to escape. Anxiety is sometimes a sign of transformation. It is the tension between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Anxiety appears when life invites you to step into a bigger version of yourself. Your personality grows when you stop running from this anxiety and begin understanding what it's trying to tell you. Anxiety often means you're standing at the doorway of something meaningful, a decision, a change, a truth, a new version of your life. You may feel scared because you're stepping out of your old identity. You may feel overwhelmed because you're breaking old patterns. You may feel uncertain because you're rewriting your story. But existential psychology says, this is exactly how growth feels. The more you grow, the more you transform the way you think, the way you perceive life, the way you relate to others, and the way you define yourself. You stop living as a reaction to your past. You begin living as a response to your purpose. This is the heart of existential personality theory. Your identity is not given to you, it is built by you. You build it through the decisions you make. You build it through the meanings you create. You build it through the courage you show. You build it through the responsibility you accept. You build it through the authenticity you embrace. Your life is your artwork. Your personality is your masterpiece. And every day, you have the freedom to paint a new stroke. So let me ask you now, gently, honestly, who are you becoming? Are you making choices that make you proud? Are you living in alignment with your values? Are you becoming a person who reflects your truth? Or are you still hiding behind fear, expectation, and routine? Because life will not choose for you. People cannot choose for you. Your past cannot choose for you. Only you can choose the meaning of your life. Only you can choose the person you want to become. Only you can choose the destiny you want to build. You are not a finished product. You are becoming a journey, a story in motion. You have the freedom to rise, the freedom to change, the freedom to transform, the freedom to begin again, the freedom to rewrite everything. Your personality is not a prison. It is a possibility. And the question you must carry with you as you walk through life is not, who am I? The real question is, what kind of person am I choosing to be, starting today? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Hit subscribe to join our journey and never miss more insights.